What's up, everybody? Happy Monday, sisters and friends. I hope you're having a great start to the week, but per usual, it's about to get even better because we have two exciting guests on the podcast that I know y'all are going to be excited about. They're two of my favorite people in life. We have John Luke and Mary Kay Robertson on the podcast, which is not the first time I've been on, but it's been a long time.
It's been a while.
Yep, we've been on separately since then, but not together.
Yeah, which is so funny. But I guess just with all of our dynamics in life, it kind of works out for like Mary Kate to be on with the girls. And you've been on for different things with Christian. But people want y'all. Like, y'all are the couple. Y'all are where it's at. So thanks for being on together. This is going to be cute and fun. But before we dive into a full conversation, which also these questions are brought to you by you guys. Y'all send in a lot of questions for John Luke and Mary Kate. So it'll be fun for everyone to get to know y'all more. But Whoa, That's Good Coffee just came out. Whoop,
What's
whoop.
up?
Yeah. And when we're filming this episode, we have the coffee, but we don't have the mugs yet. So this is throwback to the OG original.
I chose that one specifically for this.
Thank you, John Luke. And you have a nice Duck Commander mug. But the coffee is fantastic, John Luke. Well done.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm so excited. This coffee we're doing for this is cool because it's also coming from a family business. So grandfather in country in Nicaragua actually growing the coffee.
Wow.
Brothers and uncles packaging it, shipping it to New Orleans, and then coming straight from New Orleans up to here.
That is so cool.
And it was a Whoa, That's Good listener who got in contact with me.
That's so cool.
She's in college, and she said, hey, my family has this, we grow coffee and we're importing in New Orleans. We'd love to like give you some. And I tried it, loved it, and I was like, this is actually perfect.
That is so cool. I remember when you told me that, I was like, this is so perfect because it was when you were on the podcast with Christian, we said we should do a Whoa, That's Good Coffee.
Yeah. And
then you've been working on it for a long time, but for it to be like a family company and a Whoa, That's Good listener, it really came together. And it's a true, like, you drink it and you go, whoa.
No, it's really good. Yeah.
I just put it in my home coffee maker for the first time this morning. It's like, this is awesome.
Okay.
I told Christian, I said, go get yourself a coffee, boy. This is the Whoa, That's Good coffee. But no, it's delicious. It's amazing. And you guys can buy it. So you can go on our Live Original website, or is it on y'all's website too?
Maybe. Go to the Live Original website.
We're saying all this before it's officially happening because by the time this episode comes out, it will all be out.
Right.
But yeah, so first of all, let's just get to know you guys. What's your go-to coffee order?
My go-to, every morning I just drink it black. But if I go to a coffee shop, then I'm getting a hot honey oat milk latte.
That's Christian. That is literally Christian, except for not fully because he always tells people, when I'm at home, I drink it black. But whenever I'm out, I get a oat milk honey latte, but it's iced. And I'm like, do you though? Because I think we definitely make iced honey oat milk lattes every day. So, but it's, you got to say it to be a man. So.
I actually, like, when I was like getting into coffee, I was like, I'm only drinking black. I'm gonna get Chemex. It would be like, if you came over and asked for a cup, it would be like 20 minutes before you got it. Cause I was like all the preparation. And now since I like own a coffee shop and roast my own coffee, I go in and I'm just like pumping it with syrup, like just milk and syrup all the way.
You did used to do that though, because I remember visiting y'all in Lynchburg, Virginia, and y'all were going to Liberty. I get there and I wanted a coffee and you made me, and it was so cool because I remember you like measured it and I was
so
like,
precise.
This is so epic. And that was actually the week before I went on my first date with Christian, by the way. I remember being up there and thinking about, I'm about to go on a date with this guy and having my little coffee up, looking at y'all's beautiful view. So that kind of takes me back. Mary Kate, what's your go-to coffee order?
I like mine black in the morning, and then if I have one in the afternoon, I do iced honey vanilla latte.
I'm so inspired. I think I need to do some more black coffee. I'm like, that's probably a lot better for your morning. I'm definitely a latte girl.
Well, you definitely, drinking it black, you have to have good coffee.
That's true.
If it's not good, it's just not good.
That's true. Is it like an Americano at home? Is that what you do?
We just do that.
Yeah,
usually.
we do Americano. Yeah, usually.
I got that button. I'm gonna do myself an Americano. You do mochas too, though, sometimes.
Yeah, I do mochas. I do. Last time I had a mocha, I got a really bad headache. And it was not even related, but now
We're taking a break from the
You
mocha.
know how it takes you back to that moment.
Oh,
so I'm taking a
yes.
break off my mochas, but I do like my mochas too.
Speaking of taking a break, can we bring up what you just reminded me of?
Pre-conversation.
Before we start this podcast, we're reflecting back to when Jelly and Mary Kate started dating. And me and Mary Kate were best friends first. Before they started dating, I mean, we were always together. Like, I think it was every Monday night, you spent the night with me, and like every Wednesday I spent the night with y'all.
We would spend the night like twice a week.
I had my
During
own
school.
ice cream pint in y'all's freezer. Like, this is the level we were on. But there is this one big fight we got in high school. It was pretty intense. You want to share?
Well, I hadn't thought about it. I was telling Sadie about it beforehand because I thought about it the other day. I hadn't thought about it. I mean, probably not since it happened. I probably thought about it since then because it was that major and epic. But Sadie was talking about something the other day about her and Christian and like them being competitive. And I was sitting there and I was like, I don't come across as competitive anymore, but like I used to be really competitive. All growing up, I played sports and was just so competitive.
Very athletic.
But to a fault. And that fault was definitely came out.
It came out.
We were playing Monopoly in high school. And I got so mad. I didn't even remember what I got mad about until you said it.
Well, to be fair to you, I should have never been the banker or whatever because I am not good with numbers. I'm not good with that kind of responsibility. And I don't know what I did, but like I kept receiving a lot of money from the bank. And I think I made up a rule, like that wasn't a rule. And I was like, oh man, like, and then all of a sudden I had like so much more money than everybody. And then you realized it and you got mad because you thought I was cheating.
Yeah.
But I wasn't like trying to cheat.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, I really messed this thing up, which you probably had like a better chance of winning, but then I messed it up. It was bad. And you got so mad at me. We didn't talk for like 3 days. And I remember
it was
being
not good.
like, oh my gosh, I should have never been the banker. But it's so funny because you were like the cutest little human. I mean, first of all, like you are so cute, but even like your lifestyle is so cute. You're just so like put together and sweet and kind. And like you would just never know that you are like the most competitive
like
person.
Dark competitive side. Well, that's what Sadie was, you were saying, taking a break. And I had to take a break. I just kind of backed off.
Yeah.
I just like couldn't even involve myself in like
Games.
a sport or a situation or a game for like a couple of years. And then I was able to come back and a little calmer, a little more
you came back stronger.
refined.
And you can play games and it's awesome.
And now it's more fun. It's more fun for me too.
It is. And like, I feel like there's just, when you look back at high school, there are some of those stories for me where like, you know how you said like, I probably have thought about it, but not really. There's some stories I think about and then like, it's too cringy to like really sit there. And I'm like, listen, fast forward.
Like the Taylor Swift in New York.
Oh, that is so cringe. This moment,
which I forgot about that too until you brought it up recently.
Oh, I hate this. So in
you don't have
high
to talk
school,
about it if you don't want to.
I'll share it.
We're too deep.
We're
you have
deep.
to share it now. Yeah,
This was
or
our
we're just
other
cutting out
moment
this
that
whole section.
It could have been a fight between us, but it wasn't because you were very gracious. But Mary Kate had this idea.
This again, we were like probably 17 and 18. Maybe.
Yeah, I wouldn't even give us that.
17.
I think we were probably 16 and 17. We
were
were young.
We were engaged, so I was 18. I was 18.
So 17, 18.
Yeah.
Makes it worse. I wish I was 15. I wish I was 12 when this happened, but I wasn't. So we were all going to New York. They were engaged. We were going with mom, which also
it was
that
just me
whole
and you
trip
and your
was
mom.
so funny.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because first of all, there was
trip.
a snow hurricane. So like
snow hurricane.
Did you know that was a thing?
It was like a
No.
monumental.
It was a monumental moment
once a
for like New
century
York.
sort of thing.
Is it called Juno? It was called Juno.
Sounds right.
Yeah, because the movie. I was like, whoa. So we were in New York and Juno, the snow hurricane hits, and also the stomach bug hits.
I was going to bring that
not as important about this, but on the plane, Mary Kate's like, oh, I'm like so excited to go to New York because I'm going to take this picture with like New York in the background and I'm going to have the Taylor Swift lyrics as my caption. Welcome to New York. It's been waiting for you. I'm like, I love that. Yes. And I just take it as if like, thank you for handing me that idea. I get probably you to take the picture of me, and I steal her caption and put
I have not heard
to
this.
New
It was a little. It was actually a little more
painful.
intense. It was the phone
painful.
screen of the song.
Oh, it's
so
painful.
it was more of even like a
it's
setup.
so brutal. How did you still love me?
And Sadie just literally did it.
So cringe.
And posted it.
So cringe.
And we didn't talk about it for years. And she apologized for it like last month.
Last month, I was like, Mary Kate, I'm sure like you haven't thought about this, but like sometimes when I look at you, I still think about it. I still cringe. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm so sorry I did that. Because again, in my mind, like I wasn't even trying to be like, oh, I'm stealing this. Because I think if I did, I would have felt awkward about it at the time. I'm just like ADD squirrel over here. Like, that's a great idea. I'm going to do that. And then I'm thinking like, okay, yeah, Mary Kate didn't do that. Why? Because I just stole it and I did it. So rude. I literally told Bella the other day, I said, sometimes I'm like, think about drama back in high school. And like when you're in it, you think other people did it. You don't put it on yourself. And I'm like, hindsight, I'm like, man, I did so many just stupid things like that where you're like, oh, it's not like that big deal, but it is so cringy. Thankfully, you did not hold that against me, at least for the most part, because when I apologized for it last month, you were like, that was like, I'm not thinking about that. I'm literally not thinking about that.
Literally 10 years ago.
But we've had so many like just amazing life moments. Like
when I was thinking about it with that, we literally grew up.
We've grown up together.
Like we became adults together, but we also, knew each other as teenagers.
I know, which is so fun. And when you said Taylor Swift, my first thought was the Taylor Swift concert we all went to. Yeah. Like we have so many just fun memories as teenagers. And then now we have kids that are the same age. Literally being pregnant with Honey and Ella is like one of my favorite things that we got to do together. And it's just really special. But let's go back because you guys started dating in high school. So we were best friends and all of a sudden John Luke starts crashing the party. But everyone wanted to know, a lot of the questions were, how did y'all meet? So take us back to the beginning.
Yeah, we first met at a summer camp, which is cool because our parents met at summer camp and grandparents, and not the same summer camp. But that was when I was like, I guess I was 9th grade, 10th grade. You were 9th grade.
I think we were like 15.
Like 15.
We were 15. We were both 15 that summer.
Yep. And we were put on the same team in this like our like big like Olympic games or whatever. And we actually have a picture of us doing wall sits like next to each other as a challenge. And then we were like talking. And so that was our like first interaction. I was like, okay, I like this girl.
Like we literally have a picture of like one of our first conversations,
I remember that.
Which is just funny.
Yeah, which is cool. And we're
talking about you. He asked him, I specifically remember asking him, do you have any siblings?
Oh, yeah.
In that conversation. And you told me about all your siblings.
Because this was before you went to OCS, our school. So this was before we became
And this was before
friends.
There wasn't Duck Dynasty. There was Duck Commander. And so I didn't know anything about like the Duck Commander show, but I do remember my dad's a big hunter. And that fall, I remember, like being on the lookout, like for John Luke, like his family's like hunting show. And sure enough, it was like playing all the time with my dad watching it.
That's so sweet.
Yeah. And so then you transferred to the high school that we went to. And then after that, y'all became friends. We became friends and started dating. And then got married right after high school and moved to college.
Yeah. So we met when we were 15. But then I went to my other school for a full year. And then I didn't move schools for him. I always try to make that.
She specifically
it wasn't like
moved
moving for
schools
him.
thinking about me since that 15-year-old summer.
No, she didn't.
We were dating at that
moment.
point. We were both talking to other people. And at the end of my senior year. So we met at 15, started dating, I think right before I turned 18. And you were already 18. And then got married, got engaged on your 19th birthday.
Yep.
And then got married the next summer.
When we were both 19. Crazy because you were still in high school when y'all got engaged. I was actually on Dance with the Stars during that time and came back. That was like the one time I came back during the season for the engagement party. And it was so fun and so exciting. And it was really crazy because back up. So that was in October. Y'all got engaged. But it was in March y'all started dating. Because I remember we were all together. And it was like it's not called the Iddies of March. It's like the Ides of March. But I pronounced it the Iddies of March that day, which is very memorable because I always pronounce everything.
We celebrate it. We usually text Sadie. Sadie and my sister
Happy
who was there
80s
too.
March.
Happy 80s.
Well, I always pronounce everything incorrectly. And I remember it was like on our calendar and y'all started like, it was like you officially were like, will you be my girlfriend? Y'all were already like pretty much dating. And I was like, and it's the itties of March. And it was just a really memorable moment.
It was.
And so then y'all got engaged. It was crazy because you were in high school. You were in college, not at Liberty yet. You were still local. But like, okay, a lot of people have this question and it's very valid. How was it like dating and being engaged in high school and then being married for college? Like, was that wild?
I don't think it's like the same as most people because I was so old. Like, I was 19.
You were 19.
I was 19 and like a full year older
like
than
turn 19
most,
at the beginning
at the
of your senior
beginning of my
year.
senior year.
Yeah.
So like most people would be in college at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was already so old. And we were filming the show. And so we were at that point like semi homeschooled. So I also wasn't like going to school every day necessarily.
I like that semi-homeschool because you were just missing school.
Yeah,
I know.
well, no.
That's what we always say. We were semi-homeschooled.
I've never heard the semi-homeschooled term.
Well,
yeah, well, I just
we had a work
probably because I just
permit.
made it up. We had a work
you
permit.
did have a
Y'all
work
did.
permit.
Yeah. No, we were
did
still
have
doing
it in
it.
school.
Yeah.
We finished
It just
school.
was
I
chaotic.
We just aren't going
Looking
to
back,
class.
I don't
That's
remember
what I
much
mean.
of you doing school at your house.
Well,
That's
I
what
didn't.
I'm laughing
Well,
about.
I did the work. Yeah, I did the work. Except for as we discovered on a home project I did a couple weeks ago. There's some math class that I missed and
Some
couldn't.
gaps.
There's definitely some gaps
me
there.
too. When I took that ACT, I said I have missed something.
Or the
There's-
Monopoly.
I have
There's some,
missed
there's some
something in the
stuff in
Monopoly.
there that we did not
I
do.
think I
Yeah.
missed a subject.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I just got interviewed about what my biggest dream in life is, which was so fun to just sit and think about. Following our passions to achieve our goals is such an important journey in life, and my friends at Liberty University can help you get there. Their mission is training champions for Christ and providing a world-class Bible-based education. With over 600 degrees to choose from, Liberty is the place to get started on your journey towards achieving your goals, whatever they are. Most of the classes are completely online and are held in 8-week subterms with no set login times. That means a Liberty education can fit into even the busiest lifestyle and schedule. Plus, Liberty is transfer friendly and gives credit for a qualified life experience, on-the-job or military training, as well as a variety of certifications. I'd love taking my own classes at Liberty University online, and I know you will too. They're so flexible with your schedule. I remember before I started, I'm like, I'm crazy for starting college right now because, you know, I work and have all these things going on, but it was so actually doable. The way that they have it set up is really nice, and I learned so much. One day, maybe I'll go back and get to finish, but I had a great experience, and so did my siblings. If you want to check out Liberty in person and you're in grades 11 or 12 or a transfer student, you and your family can attend college for a weekend from November 7th through November 9th. It's a 3-day event on Liberty's campus where potential students get to test drive life at Liberty by attending classes, checking out the dining hall, and connecting with others at student events. Visit liberty.edu/Sadie to get started. And because you're a Whoa That's Good podcast listener, you'll also get your application fee waived. So friend, don't wait. Go to liberty.edu/Sadie now and get started on your future goals today.
So I was older. I was, not fully in school. I actually finished all my classes early that year anyways. So it wasn't like a super typical situation, but still was 19 and you were 18 in college. So
You also bring up, we'll get to being married in college in a second because you bring up a good point. We were filming the show during that time. So y'all's relationship was on TV, which also when I think back to y'all's engagement, that was so epic. Like y'all had Ben Rector there. Like that was a crazy time of our life. Like that was such a big engagement, such a big wedding, filmed for TV. Looking back, do y'all appreciate that? Would you have wanted it to be more private, or are you glad it was out there?
I don't know. I mean, it didn't really feel like, to me at least, it didn't really feel like that. I mean, the whole show, like we've talked about Dynasty before, and locally in our hometown, it didn't feel like we were these like big famous people. It was just, we're just living our lives, So in the moment, I didn't really, I didn't think about it like that. I mean, now I think that as we get older, we're kind of like becoming more private. Like we see kind of I don't know if like holiness or just like importance of, you know, being who you are and not having to put everything out there. And, you know, some of that, I can't really think of the word, that holiness of like your own sacred kind of your own life. And so looking back, I'm like, some of that we filmed or had on TV or showed, it's like, if we were doing it now, we would be like, that's kind of our like sacred
It felt
part.
normal at the time. I'll give you that because everything was filmed.
Yeah. And that's what I was just thinking of. I don't think the wedding really made that much of a difference because so much of the show was already out there. Like, I don't think, yes, people did. We would get approached a lot about people. I've had some people who are like, I've watched your wedding like 3 times. And honestly, I don't really, I'm like, awesome. Yay. Like, it's never felt weird to me having our wedding out there. But I do think like, I look back on those early years of our marriage and think it was probably a lot harder than it could have been without having it just our lives be so public. Like I think had our lives not been so public, we would have had an easier, and not just as in like a marriage, but even just like separate. Like I look back on me and I feel like that was such a formative time of my life to have so much attention that's not natural. And I feel like it just puts, I don't know, this pressure or really just a lot of pressure. And probably just a lot of like thinking of myself like too much because I'm getting too much attention. And I do think that in general, just being so public, probably once like I feel like a few years into marriage, especially once we moved back here and things started to slow down because we were traveling a lot. Like our first year of marriage, we were just traveling a lot and doing a lot. And I feel like a few years in, I was like, wow, like I feel like this feels so normal and steady now. And I look back, I'm like, wow, that was crazy.
That was crazy.
Like, it was crazy, like, because it was, and I don't think, you know, the wedding made the difference, but just the show in general, like, when we lived in Virginia and we went to school, like John Luke said, when we were here, everything felt so normal, which I'm sure you felt similarly with when you moved to Nashville.
Totally.
And once you get out of kind of like your safe bubble, it's like, whoa. Like this does feel different now. And I remember being in college and John Lee didn't want to go to Target because if we would go to Target together, we were just getting stopped and he was taking pictures and it just felt so. I remember that phone call with your mom. I feel like that marked so much of that first year was we called y'all's mom like the first week of school and we were like, we just kind of feel like these exotic animals or something. Like it just feels we feel weird. Like everyone's looking, even if they're not saying anything, you just could feel people looking at you. And
when you walk in a room and everyone's like, it's like the tone of the room changes and it's like people start looking and it's like you hear like whispering and it just makes you feel kind of awkward.
Yeah. But I don't know if that kind of answers the question.
You answered that so well. And I can so relate. I think about moving to Nashville and I remember like being frustrated because in my mind, I'm like, this is me being independent. Like this is me like having the years to have like the freedom. And I'm not talking about going crazy. I'm talking about literally going to Target, like going and doing something normal. And then I kind of got into some like more dangerous situations just because of how recognized I was at the time. And I remember a security guard telling me, you can't go anywhere by yourself. Like you just can't do that. And that made me like really frustrated because I was like, but I want to. Like I want to live my life, but I'm scared to. And so, there's just like, it just did change our life and there's so many positives, but there were just like shifts. And for y'all, it was for both of us like such formative years. And so getting married, you know, I asked the question what people are asking being married in college, but y'all had layers that were a little different than everybody going to college because you were so recognizable. And like you just came off of your wedding being on TV with so many people watching it. And whether the wedding was on or not, you're right. Y'all's relationship was just public. And so that just added some different things. I wonder, and I've never asked you this before, John Luke, but I feel like I crave this because I remember like when y'all were getting married, like you were so ready to get married. Like you were so ready to settle down, so ready to get married, so ready to like commit. Do you feel like part of that readiness came from, and I'm kind of speaking from my own self at the time, because I remember at the time, part of me wanting to be in a relationship with someone was like I wanted to just be known by someone and like something to feel normal, something to feel secure and steady. Whereas like my whole world felt so crazy. And like I felt like a lot of people thought they knew me, but they didn't. And so the ones that did know me, especially in relationships, I felt more like desperate for, and not like a bad way, but like, I just so crave that. Do you feel like part of wanting to get married and settle down young was out of being such a crazy time? Like you're like, I'm ready for something to feel like steady.
Yeah, I've never thought that, but looking back, maybe. I mean, I think in the aspect of I was maybe more attached than I would have been to people who were my friends at the time and who I like knew were like my true
who
like,
loved you,
best friends, you know, which Mary Kate being, you know, one of those. And so like, I don't feel like it was, I don't want to say it was like wanting to get married or commit out of like a
not in a bad way,
not in a bad way, but I definitely can see like
it probably made y'all closer.
Yeah, I mean, it was something like about Mary Kate that like I knew she was real. I knew I loved her. I knew she loved me. I knew like our friendship. There was no like ulterior motive. So like there was a level of trust that we had.
Yeah.
That I think in a different situation without the show, without that, it would have still happened, but it would have happened over a longer period of time.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
To speak to that too, and I literally feel teary-eyed thinking about this because I'm literally gonna cry thinking about this. This is so funny because I was not expecting this out of this conversation. I'm like, let's just get to know you. But to Mary Kate, in all sincerity, like you were that friend both of us could trust at that time. And like, I mean it, like, and I know I've never like said that to you because I don't think I've even thought about that. But like you were that friend to us that both of us could trust. You never had ulterior motives. You welcomed us in your home. When we were at your house with your family, your parents and Kelly, we felt so normal. Like when I think to my high school years, like the fun of being a high school student, it was y'all's house. Like it was the memories we have.
I didn't expect
I know. And I was just thinking about that because I was like, I bet you like cling to her from that. And I did in a friend way, you know?
Yeah.
And I was just thinking about that because like I did that for you as a friend. He did that for you as a girlfriend. But because even like Dance with the Stars, when I got asked to do that, like people have heard me tell the story about me not wanting to do the show and like saying no because I was so scared. And people probably think people might be like, okay, were you really? No, like y'all remember that night. I was like so upset. I drove to your house because I was like, what am I going to do? I can't believe my whole life's about to change. This feels so crazy. Drove to y'all's house, cried the whole way. Got there, was so worked up. This is like the ugliness of but just real. I threw up in the car. Yeah. I was embarrassed by how upset I was that I tried to just leave your house and not come in. And John Luke ran outside, saw my car, jumped on my car because I wouldn't let him in, jumped on my car. And this is terrible. But I was only going like 5 miles per hour, but I kept driving. I was like, get off my car. I'm not opening this door. I'm not opening this door. And so then I was like, he's not getting off the car. So then I pull in your house. You get off the car. Y'all open the door and your mom and y'all come out with cleaning stuff to clean my car and help me. And we sat there on that couch and talked about me going on the show and what it's going to look like. And y'all are going to be there. And not only were you there for me, y'all came out there. I mean, it was just so special. And so, I don't know, we just haven't really ever sat down and reflected back and been like, thank you for being that friend. Like, it was, that was a crazy time of all of our lives. And we went through that together. You guys have heard me talk about AG1 for a while now, but for a limited time, I have a special offer for you that's a $67 value. I drink AG1 just about every day because taking care of myself and my body is important to me, and AG1's vitamins, minerals, adaptogens, and pre and probiotics give me everything I need to keep me feeling my best. AG1 is so easy to use. Literally just get a glass of ice cold water, 1 scoop of AG1, mix it all up, drink it, and I truly do feel so much better. I know people say that they've seen changes after like a month. I saw a difference in me day 1. I'm not even kidding. I felt so much better. AG1 is a great replacement for that morning coffee or add into a smoothie. Since AG1 has been shown to double the amount of healthy bacteria in the gut, it supports digestion, reduces bloating, and keeps you right on schedule, if you know what I mean. AG1 will help fill in nutrition gaps in your diet and provide whole body benefits like stress and immune support in every scoop. Plus, AG1 is made with with all non-GMO ingredients and has no added sugar. I love the quality products like this that AG1 always offers the highest quality. So start with AG1 and notice the difference in yourself. It's a great first step into investing in your health, and that's why we've been a proud partner for so long. Try AG1 today and get their special offer of 10 free travel packs and a bottle of vitamin D3 plus K2 drops with your first purchase at drinkag1.com/whoa. That's a $67 value for free if you go to drinkag1.com/whoa today and check it out. Let's get back to these questions. Okay, but because people did have questions about being married in college, and even though it was crazy, y'all did actually get to experience being a married couple in college, and y'all actually lived, like, after that first year, I feel like y'all were able to live a pretty normal college life. Like, you guys built an amazing community. Talk about, like, the fun of being married in college together. Oh, yeah, super fun. I mean, we had great friends. Loved them. Just recently went to one of their weddings, and it was awesome. And I think it was even better us being married in college. It was good for us, but also good for our friends because we had a house. So it was like everyone like only wanted to come over to our house. You know, they were living on the door. So we got to like make this space. It was just fun, have people over.
Yeah, I really feel like it was like what we made it to, because I totally see how being married, like they didn't have married housing. Like that wasn't a thing. I think it might be now, but it wasn't then. And like to get really involved at school, you either had to be playing like sport, like the intramural sports, or your hall.
Clubs or whatever.
Well, they didn't have the clubs. See, they had
they had like other clubs, but not like,
it was by
not
your,
like Greek or whatever.
It was by your like living. So like whoever was on your hall that you lived on, that's who you were like, you know, in kind of like a group with. Well,
it was just us. Yeah.
Like, we lived in our house, and so we weren't on campus, but I can see how we could have just kind of closed ourselves off. Yeah. And like if we wanted to, we could have very easily just really closed ourselves off. But I feel like we really made an effort not to do that. And like we had people over just all the time.
The most fun parties.
We had so much fun. We had so many fun. That's what when we were at the wedding in New York, like 2 weekends ago, one of my best friends from college, I was talking to another girl there who we went to college with, and she was like, we just had so many like fun, like themed parties. Like, who does all these themed parties? She said, but that's something, well, I thought it was so neat because she said, that's something that I've taken, me and another girl who was at our parties and at school too. They both live in Nashville now. She's like, oh, we do these theme parties. We do these, like, we're the fun ones. And people are always coming to us. And they're like, how do y'all even think of these things? And she was like, it really, so much of it goes back to college. We had our office party. It was the office party.
We did Mardi Gras. We had the holiday super theme parties. We played cards. We danced. We did all kinds of stuff.
We even, one night after a party, we had people literally walking across hot coals.
We did coal. Yeah,
like
we did
the fire,
like the floor is lava.
No, literally like coals.
Literal fire in our backyard. It was like fire
in our backyard.
And people were people were going crazy. And to add on to this, we didn't even have there was no alcohol. So all of our fun and all of our parties, we weren't all just drinking and even the coal walking, no one was intoxicated.
How did we do that sober? I don't know.
That is hilarious.
Everyone was willingly just running over coals in our backyard.
That is awesome.
But it was fun.
I remember that during that time, and then we did the same thing in Nashville, inspired by you guys and what y'all did. We did the spicy Uno nights and all the theme parties, and it was just like a blast. And so and y'all still do that. We all still do that, which is so much fun. And I think that's the thing about life when people always reflect on their college years or that was the fun times. No, it doesn't have to stop there. It can keep going, and then in a healthy, mature way, especially if you're not having alcohol at those things and getting drunk and all the things, then you're still having the same fun, when you're out of it and bringing your kids into it, which is just so special. A lot of people want to know about your lives now, particularly Mary Kate, your homemaking, because your Instagram is so beautiful, so well done, but it really is a reflection of your home and your life. When I go to your house, I'm like, yep, you're making something good to eat, and you have a new kid's craft up on the wall, and it's so sweet and so cute. What is homemaking meant to you, and how did you start creating your home the way that it is?
I feel like it probably took me I don't know. I feel like where I'm at now in doing it and like where my heart is now, I probably didn't come to this mindset until probably after we had Ella. So probably the past like 3 years. I feel like Ella really solidified for me realizing, I don't know, for whatever reason, I think God just helped me go ahead and switch my mindset over to like, this is something that's worthy of your time. Like being home, like with them. And I feel like at first I don't know, I just didn't feel necessarily just like super fulfilled in it. And I feel like God just really opened my eyes probably like 3 years ago to, this is really good work. Like this is good work. This is holy work. This is hard work. But just making our home, I've heard people say like the woman is like the heart of the home. And like, it really is kind of flowing out of the things that you can set and like your attitude and your mood. Just the whole tone of your house. Like you set the tone of like your house. And I don't know, I think when I was able to like make that switch over into really enjoying it, and not to say it's not ever like hard or, but it's really good. Yeah. And it's really good. And I really enjoy it.
I think it's like, it comes down to establishing like your why, what the purpose of something is. And, you know, especially something like your home, it can just be like the place that you're the most comfortable, which you are comfortable, you should be, it's your home. But sometimes you put less intention behind the things you feel most comfortable in. But when you're reminded, like, this is the most important thing, this is where I need to be the most intentional. It's like, okay, now that you're focused on that, you've been able to create some really beautiful things that are so intentional. And that's like each time you're like, hey, here's a new craft we're doing. And it like gives me a good idea to go do that with Honey. And like you're good at thinking of those things. And it started with that intentionality and God laying that on your heart, which is really cool. And then John Luke, you have been roasting coffee, but also running camp again. So talk a little bit about camp, because someone asked, how do you be like a good camp leader and church leader? Because they know that that's what you do. Speak into that a little bit.
Yeah. So like long story short, we came back from college to do camp. I was running Camp Choco full time in 2019. 2020, COVID hit. Not a great time to be in camp directing. Camp kind of shut down. We majorly downscaled, and I was like, okay, I need another job. Bought a coffee shop, ended up being 2 coffee shops, coffee truck, coffee roaster, expanded into this kind of big thing.
Oh my God, how crazy, like how big that was.
Right. And then with the goal, with always the goal being to come back to work full time at camp, and was still kind of doing both. Then last year, I took a year off of camp and sold the coffee shops, kind of moved everything out of it, except for the roaster, which I'm doing like just kind of as a side project now. Just honestly, just for fun stuff, like literally just for like Duck Commander, Buck Commander, and for us. And then moving back into full time at camp. So this summer I was full time, more than full time. I was there from 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. every single day, and just loved it. And I think like being in ministry or any kind of life, like how do I grow as like a camp leader, like a church leader? I think it's kind of simple. Like I read my Bible, I pray, I am in community at church, confess my sins, I worship, and like that's it. Like that's how you grow closer to God. You just do that.
And that's
every
in
day,
everything, every job.
Yeah, like wherever you are.
So good. I love that, because it's like really receive that advice from whatever job you're in. How do you be good at anything you do? You know, it starts with those same things in life. I love how you mentioned you're in a great church community. You guys have an amazing community. And I want to ask you about that, because a lot of people did ask, like, after becoming parents, it's hard to find friends. How did you grow in community? So how did y'all build the wonderful community that you're in now?
Yeah, I mean, I think just showing up, continuing to call, make phone calls, go to lunches, you know, find babysitters, take time.
Birthday parties.
Yeah. So many birthday parties. Going to church on Sundays, seeing them at lunch, you know, going to lunch with them, just committing to being in each other's lives.
Yeah. And I think it takes, I can't remember how that came up. I was talking about that this morning. I had 2 friends over this morning, and we were talking about something, and I was like, it really is like a sacrifice. Like friendship is, and you get the return for sure, but like it's effort that's put into it. And I think that like, it's just inviting people over.
Yeah.
Or it's not, even if it's not your house, like to the park, like somewhere, like put the invite out, just invite them, and then invite them again, and then invite them again. And I mean, if it's like, okay, this person literally saying no all the time and they don't, move on to somebody else. Yeah. But I also know that now, like my friends that were over this morning, I haven't seen either of them for like a full month, which is usually longer than we go without seeing each other. But talking with them both, everyone's just had a really crazy month. And I think there's also that like understanding, of like everyone also is going through times. Like 2 of them had kids starting school like this month, and like our vacations, and just being understanding. Yeah. That sometimes there's seasons when you'll see them more or less, but you should be putting forth the effort and seeing some effort put in.
I love that
on their end as well.
And both of you saying like invite someone, because I think so many people wait to get invited and then you're like frustrated, but you just have to be the one to invite or open up your home, and then eventually hopefully it's reciprocated and it's a mutual friendship. And it's so true where it's like when you're in college or you're in high school or whatever, like friends are your main like priority. It's like make friends. Then after you get married and you have kids, like that's your priority, but you still need friends and you need community. So yes, it's not going to be top priority in the sense of like, you might not see each other every week because you can't, because you have a husband and your kids and life's crazy. But like, yes, be as intentional as you can, because you need that too in order to be a great wife and a great mom, like having your people that you can call on. And it was so sweet, like just the beauty of community. Last night, we kept one of our friends' kids while they went on a date. And it was so funny because they went out to dinner and then they ran into 2 of our other friends in our closest friend group. And they were like, where's your daughter? And their daughter was with Reeves and Lydia. Aww. And we had their daughter. And I was like, that's the beauty of community, because we have like our once a week like confession hour, which is so awesome and hilarious. But we just like get together during lunch once a week, and we're just like, what's everybody got going on, like the real stuff, and just able to like kind of purr with each other, talk it out. And 2 of our friends had said like, it's been such a stressful week. So we both separately texted and said like, hey, we'll keep your daughter. And like, we didn't even talk about that. Yeah. And then it just like was so sweet that they ended up at the same place for dinner last night. And I was like, that is the power of community. We got together, we heard a need, we both individually reached out to the happened to be the other person, which was awesome. And they end up going to the same place for dinner. And so, community is like so needed in this stage of life. It's just harder to come by. And it is a sacrifice sometimes, it is a little bit crazy. I spend a lot of time in my Bible and my journal, and y'all, I'm a major doodler. Whether I'm doing a Bible study with friends, working on a message to share at an event, or spending just personal time in the Word, my journal and Bible are full of highlights, underlines, and doodles, and Mr. Pen products are the reason why. Mr. Pen's highlighters and pens are my go-to supplies for Bible study because they are specifically designed not to bleed through those super thin Bible pages. And with more than 100,000 5-star reviews on Amazon, it proves that I am not the only one who adores Mr. Pen products. So whether you're deepening your faith through study and reflection, writing in your prayer journal, or just need a good pen to, write during a sermon or even at school, Mr. Pen has you covered with the cutest, most fun products on the market. I actually have my little Mr. Pen back here for those watching, and look at how cute all the colors of these highlighters are, and they have tons like this with all different shades. They also have little sticky notes and all these kind of things if you're into that. They really have everything, and it honestly makes diving into your Bible so much more fun because, you get excited about all the little markups you can do. I absolutely love Mr. Pen for, 1, how cute it is, but 2, how it makes me want to read more and doodle more. So stock up on your Mr. Pen Bible journaling supplies today. Visit sadiepens.com and be sure to check out my favorites. That's sadiepens.com to get all your Mr. Pen Bible journaling supplies. You'll be so glad that you did.
And I thought you said something so good about like not seeing it for a month. Because I was just thinking about this because I have one of my best friends. We didn't see each other all summer. Like we were talking, like we would get lunch every week, and then summer hit. I went to camp. We didn't talk at all. So it's probably been 3 months since we've seen each other in person. Like we've texted, talked on the phone some, and his wife, they were about to have a baby. And so last week we were trying to get together, he had called me. I missed it. I called him. We just like didn't connect. And in my mind, I was like, oh, we'll see each other this week. Well, then they had the baby early. And so then I was like, well, shoot, I guess it'll be another month. And he called me yesterday. And again, like he called me, I called him back. We just all day, we finally connected last night. And, talked for a while. And then it was like, okay, whenever you get back home and y'all, get established and like, we'll get back together. But I think it's the being confident in.
Yeah, so true.
In friendships being over months instead of every week.
Oh, it's so true.
You know,
that's like even with my friends, we have our weekly thing, but not everyone can come every week. And it's like, just if you can come, great. If you can't, but like you pick up where you left off. But then I think about my friends who live in Nashville because I created so many great friends. And those are the people like I won't see for 6 months, but like we pick up right where we left off. And there's never like hurt feelings. Neither one of us are just good at calling each other because we're both just bad at that, but we know that. So it's never like offensive. It's just like, it is what it is. Then you get together and it's just so sweet. You pick up on life. And so, I think when you're a little bit older, you have to have a little bit more grace for just like times people are in and just also more of that commitment to show up whenever people need you. But
I think
special.
It's like, I was kind of thinking like, for me, it's a confidence in yourself that you have friends. Because I think it's easy, like for me, being like, I haven't talked to anyone in 3 months. It's easy to be like, I don't have any friends, but I do have friends.
Yeah.
It's just on a bigger time scale.
Yep.
And
It's
so
so true.
I don't have to like act in desperation to find friends or keep friends or get down or lonely or whatever. Cause like I've got friends. I know like it might be a couple weeks, but we're going to get back together. And
It's so true.
And I think too, like I was just thinking if someone's feeling like, cause I think this was true for me like several years ago, but like if you're feeling like you still don't have enough community, like you're not seeing your friends enough. So like say you with your friends, like in Nashville, like that you couldn't just have friends in Nashville. You knew when you moved back here, you needed friends here.
People.
And like kind of not spreading yourself too thin with like friends, like because then you don't want this one person to feel like, one or two people to feel like they're carrying like a lot, like spread out your friendships to where like we've both got our groups of friends. We're also friends. Like, so I get my time with my family.
So
I get my
true.
time with these friends. And then I've got friends who are long distance.
So true.
But I knew that when I moved away from my long distance friends, I needed to have close community too.
So true.
So
I love that.
I feel like instead of forcing someone who's just, someone could just have a different pace of life or a different schedule and
like
they can't
everything.
be with you, because I think we do need community often. And like, but if you're not getting it in this one space, seek out some more friends so that you're not putting too much on one or two people.
I love that. I think that's so good. Yes, family is your friends, and that's a great thing, and receive that. And then have your community, have the ones that are spread out. And I love how you're said too, like, don't get insecure on yourself if you don't have that person right now. And also know, like, I think as an adult, like the other thing with friendships is it does take a little bit longer to get like a depth there, because I remember even the girls who are like my close people now, who are my confession hour girls, all that kind of stuff. It took us a long time to get to the point where we felt like the same depth of the friendships we had in the previous season of our life.
That makes sense.
Because we lived with those people. So like, of course I was going to be super close to the people like I lived with, or
like
you went to college with. You went closer faster, and you're just like on that level super fast. Like when Lainey and I met, we were like best friends because we like lived together. We're on a tour together. Like we did everything together.
Yeah.
And then when you make a friend as an adult, it's like, well, I'll see you next month, or I'll see you. So it takes time to develop that deep, like that depth. And I remember just as it started to shift for us, feeling like, oh man, like these are my people. Like I can call you, like, and so it's beautiful, but you have to grow. It like takes time to commit to those things, which is so good. Okay, we've had so many great conversations so far, so many great questions that were asked. And I love that we really stopped and touched on friendship a lot, because so many people have always had questions around adult friendships and like after college, and that's hard. So I hope that was a blessing to everyone. Last question I'll ask is, a lot of people had a question about parenting toddlers, little ones, and specifically around how to create like a Christian environment for a toddler. Obviously they're so young to understand, but are there just intentional things that y'all already do to introduce them to God and His Word?
Yeah. I mean, kind of same thing we're doing. Like we do a little devotional every day, and Mary Kate's really good about like buying the books and saying the devotionals, things like that. Teaching them how to pray. Like we always pray before meals, and to like letting them pray. And I think that like what we've been intentional about is like actually teaching them how to pray, like praying with them, praying ourselves, praying with them, and then letting them pray, and things like that. Making sure we're at church, as many Sundays as we can make it, memorizing Bible verses and things like that. So like as far as like a Christian environment, I think like just us just living our normal lives with them, like making sure that we're doing the same things we want them to learn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I remember reading one time in a book, this was when I was probably pregnant with John Shepherd, who's our oldest. So we literally didn't even have any toddlers, babies yet. And I read in a book, and I think it was the Raising Passionate Jesus Followers. And one thing that it said in the book was to raise a passionate Jesus follower, you have to be one.
It's true.
And I mean, if you're missing that key, it doesn't matter, putting your kids in church some, or like if you're not really living out your own relationship with the Lord and seeking Him, your kids are going to see, they're feeling the effects of it. I think they feel the effects of our relationship with the Lord, even in how we act with them and talk with them and respond to them, just in our day-to-day life. And then of course, so like you were saying, like we've got some little devotional books that we like. So we do that over breakfast and just praying for your kids. I love the book. There's Praying the Scriptures Over Your Children, which is a great book. And then for devotionals for toddlers, we do the Rhyme Bible storybook, and then Our Daily Bread for preschoolers. And those are great for like little. Yeah. Because I feel like sometimes it's like, okay, this is good for like, 5 or 6 year old, but like, how do you even start it like younger than that? So that, and then I think my sister and I were talking the other day, and we were saying, she actually asked me that on behalf of someone else. So I actually was just thinking about this question like last week. And I said, I think looking back though, out of everything our parents did, anything they were teaching us, and we were doing all sorts, like we were memorizing scripture, memorizing like catechism, like songs. Like
I remember your dad reading us the Devo.
That's it. That's what I told my sister. Yeah. I said, I think the most impactful thing though on my walk now with the Lord was seeing my dad reading his Bible every single morning when I woke up, every morning. And I think it was just that over a whole childhood of realizing, this is that important to him. Wow. And now I'm getting to see, I have a picture that I took the other day of me and Ella, because I get up and I read and I pray every morning. And I have a picture of Ella. She'll just come and she'll grab her Bible and she'll just sit beside me and open it up. And I just think that is just, they're going to copy what they're imitators. Seeing,
Yes, that's so good, Mary Kate. I remember your dad, even when we were over, he would say like, all right, I'm going to read the Devo over y'all today. And he even gave me a devotional, like just as your friend, like this is the one we read. And like, he was so intentional about that, like that is what he strongly believes, that he would want to share that with us and bring us into the overflow of his walk with the Lord. And we've had parents that do that for us in different ways. But I think it's just the authenticity of you really loving God. And then they will. I had to read y'all this because this is so cute. I wrote it down because I was like, that was so cute how she just said that, but such a little imitator. So honey, the other day we got home from a trip, and when we landed in the airport, we walked out of the airport and the sunset was like super beautiful. And honey walks out and she goes, what a beautiful pink sky. She said, what a beautiful pink sunset. And she said, can I tell God that he's so sweet? And I said, yeah. And she said, God, you are so sweet. And then she looked at me, she said, God really is sweet. I love him. And it was like so just like cute and sincere. And I was like, I'm so glad she feels like the confidence to just like talk to God and like tell him that's a beautiful sunset, like learning how to praise him, learning how to worship him. And then last night there wasn't pink clouds in the sky, and it was like 7:15. And she goes, why didn't God make me pink clouds tonight? I said, well, ask him. And she said, God, could you make me some pink clouds? Sure enough, 45 minutes later, it is the pinkest cloud you've ever seen. And she was like, God made me a pink cloud. And it's just like, you're teaching them like how to ask God for stuff. It's in those little things, you know, those little moments, and just how to like how to incorporate God into every moment. So it's like, yeah, see a sunset, you think it's beautiful, tell him thank you. He's so sweet. And then she'll ask me, she always says, why does he do that for you? And I always say, because he loves you that much. And that's been like our thing lately, because she notices pink clouds. And so it's like, oh, because he loves you that much. And so it's amazing how like teaching your kids about God, it's just like teaching them how to see him in the everyday life, teaching them, the scripture, how to pray. When I hear Honey pray, most of the time it's like really short, but each night when she prays over Haven, it used to be a little longer. Now it's like, dear God, Haven, sleep good. Amen. But it used to be, she would be like, dear God, thank you for Haven. And she would say, and who she is made, because I always say who she's made to be. And she would kind of like botch that part, but like it would be so sweet. And so, teaching them those things and that it's important and the consistency in it is just so beautiful. But y'all do such a good job at that. And I've seen Ella do that. And I've seen Sheffy. I mean, they just have such sweet hearts, and it's a reflection of who y'all are just as people and also what you teach them. But you guys are such a great example in a million areas of life. So I'm grateful that y'all came on the podcast and answered their questions. And of course, every time I get to talk with y'all, I learn too. And so this was amazing. And I'm so thankful. I love you guys.
Well, thanks for having us. It was fun.
Thanks for having us.
Come back on anytime.